How do you make your DJ sets unforgettable? How do you have people talking about your sets for days afterwards? Did you hear that DJ when they did this or that? Well, that's what I'm going to talk to you about in this quick 5-minute video, because it's not as hard as you think, but most DJs just do not get this. So look, we've got to first think about what unforgettable actually means. It doesn't mean that everyone is unable to buy a drink or talk to their friends or do anything else other than stand there and stare at you and think, wow, this is amazing, man. Of course it doesn't. It's unforgettable moments we're looking at here. We saw a Fred Again gig recently. There's a lot of stuff on socials showing clips from a gig that he did at the Brixton Academy in London. And it would look from those clips like the whole thing was like I just described, but they were 2 or 3 moments in a 3 or 4 hour DJ set. So it's about moments. Hold that thought. Right. So look, if you're not connecting with people and if you're looking bored, there's no transfer of energy from the DJ booth to the dance floor, then clearly you're not going to be doing the job, because you're going to be transferring boredom. So we don't want that, right? We need you to be enthusiastic. We need you to can't wait to do this, right? That's the first thing. Hold that thought, because we're going to talk about the obvious things first. If you haven't bought any new music recently, if you haven't listened to the music you have bought, if you haven't researched the venue, you haven't asked the couple whose wedding you're playing what they really want you to play or what they don't want you to play, if you don't know the people you're going to be playing to, look, if you haven't put any of that basic effort in, then you're being a dick. How on earth can you play an unforgettable DJ set? So I'm assuming you're doing that stuff and you're preparing and you're ready for the gig. Also, if you're not flexible when you get to the gig. So look, we teach loads of ways of doing that here at Digital DJ Tips. Loads of ways of, I don't like the phrase reading the crowd, because it implies something mysterious that only some DJs get, and that's rubbish. It's about being flexible based upon what you find when you get there. You're not going to be banging out your biggest tunes to a half-empty dance floor at 9 p.m. when by 11 p.m. that's the time to be doing that, etc., etc. Carl Cox has got a good way of putting this. Carl Cox says, play to the people on the dance floor for the first half of the night, and then play to the people around the edges for the second half of the night, so they get a chance to dance as well. There's other methods as well. There's something we call the dartboard method, where very early on in your set, you play around the dartboard of genres, a bit of this and a bit of this and a bit of this, and you keep a good eye on what people like. And then later on, you come back and you concentrate on the genres that you think are going to work. And there's other ways of doing this. But look, all of this stuff, not planning your set and then getting there and not being flexible, playing with your head down, going through a set that you pre-prepared because you're too scared to do anything else. All of this stuff is going to mean that you're going to be, at the very least, forgettable, but maybe worse. Maybe people are going to be dissing you for the next few days, which we don't want, right? So look, this is taken as read. You've got these basics nailed. But the big thing nowadays that a lot of DJs don't get, which is really sad because there's nothing, again, mysterious about this at all, is they're not using all the tools of modern DJ gear. So look, if you've got something really nice like this piece of gear here, the Rain 4, or you've got something very basic like this, or you've got anything in between, all of this stuff can do so much more than the 2 record decks and a mixer that I was brought up on playing this kind of thing. So if you're not using it, if you're not doing what it's capable of doing to make your sets go from good to great, to go from average to unforgettable, you're missing a whole bunch of tricks. So modern gear like this can do things like adjust the key of the music so that it fits with what you're playing on the other deck. So now you can instantly make things sound harmonic as well as having the beat mixed. It has stems on it, which means you can take the a cappella from here and drop it over the instrumental from here, or swap the drums at a different time that you swap the bass line, and all this kind of thing. You can easily match and alter the tempo and the BPM, so you can match genres very easily. And when you understand things like energy levels in DJ sets, you can move the energy level independent of those other things, which means dynamic DJ sets that move around, that are flexible, like I was talking about, but most importantly, that create those unforgettable moments. They're the moments that you see on those clips on Instagram. They're the moments that you see on TikTok from gigs at the Brixton Academy where it looks like every single transition was like that. It wasn't. But the DJs that know this stuff create 2 or 3 moments in their sets. And a good tip is to do one right near the end because people go out singing it. But they create 2 or 3 moments in their sets that are instantly filmable, instantly shareable, instantly viral. But more than that, they give the audience the energy you've got because you couldn't wait to play them. And this is my final point. In order to play the kinds of transitions we're talking about, in order to do the mashups, in order to do the mini mixes, the word plays, the tone plays, the a cappella mixes, in order to do this stuff, You're not just going to turn up and suddenly feel inspired. Of course you're not. You're going to practice them. And the practice sessions at home are where you get the enthusiasm and where you nail 2 or 3 of these transitions and you think, I cannot wait for my gig on Saturday because I'm going to get to do this in front of a real audience. And that's where the energy comes from I was talking about at the top of this video. That's where the transfer of energy from DJ booth to dance floor happens because you're excited about playing, because you've done the practice and you know the transitions that you're going to use and you can't wait to get out there and do them. And do you know what? Do you know what the best bit about this is? If you're a hobby DJ and you've got no intention of playing out, you're just recording sets at home for your own use, for your headphones, for your drive to work, for your running, whatever, you're going to get those moments. You're going to make your DJ sets unforgettable for yourself. And that's surely where it all starts, right? Playing them for an audience is a bonus, but you're going to make your DJing unforgettable for you, which is a great thing in itself, and it needn't go any further than that. So look, these are just some of our ideas and some of the things we teach our students about how to make your DJ sets unforgettable, do the basics right, and have 2 or 3 moments where you really are doing something that you can't wait to perform, that you know is going to be good. And even if it isn't good, one of the big things you learn is that in those practice sessions, you quite often are a lot more daring than you would be at a real gig. Have you been there? Have you been practicing and think, oh, I'm just going to try this, and you pull it off and it sounds great? Here's my final tip to you. Be a bit more like that at your gigs. People want performance. They don't want perfection. People don't care about perfection. They want to know there's a person up there doing this. So be a little bit more daring at your gigs. If it worked a couple of times in practice, try it at the gig. You might be surprised, and guess what? You're better at getting out of those embarrassing moments if it does go a bit wrong than you think you are. Now, if you're interested in learning how to use those tools, key mixing, a cappella mixing, loops, cues, stems, samplers, all that stuff on modern DJ gear that you didn't have on record decks, if you're interested in learning that stuff, I've linked to our latest mixing course, the Transition Toolbox, underneath this video. But do let me know how you see other DJs making their sets unforgettable and how you make your own sets unforgettable. I'd love to know in the comments. But meanwhile, from me, Phil, here in the studio, get good, get out there, make the moments, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.